get to 40, 50, and maintain it. We got the power, folks.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are on the way to sparkcycleworks down in Branford, Connecticut. And today we're going to be checking out their Javelin e-bike. Now, Matt, the main engineer and owner of sparkcycleworks, we talk a lot about this particular bike. We really get into the nitty-gritty details about a lot of different aspects about this bike. So this is a longer technical video. If you guys do want to get to the riding footage, I'm going to leave a timestamp somewhere on the top of the screen, and that way you can just skip right into the riding footage if that's what you want to look at first. But if you're someone who is interested in buying this bike and you want to learn more about what you're going to be paying for, what this company is about, what kind of bike this is, stay tuned, watch this entire video. I think you're really going to like what you're about to see. And if you guys are interested in this bike, I will leave a link in the description below. Feel free to check that out for the most updated price. And I also have a ton of other links down there as well, such as recommended accessories and other awesome e-bikes. Let's jump right in.
So yeah, we have the two main bikes from Spark. If you've been following us for a while, you know the original bike was the Bandit, and the Bandit has now become the Brute. But to complement the Brute, we also made this bike called the Javelin. And basically, these two bikes took everything we learned from the Bandit and kind of split it up into two products. And the Javelin is more of like our sports car, and it took what we learned about the Bandit for customization, right? Because towards the end of the Bandit's product life, we were doing custom bikes every week. Every week we put out like a new crazy custom build. And so we wanted to have a bike that we could do that even more with, and the Javelin became that. So like if you go on the website right now, we got like 10 different paint colors, and then there's an option to say, here's the paint color I want. And so you can choose from thousands from our paint supplier.
Look, Bruce, you can even get it in purple.
In the United States, there's a company called Prismatic Powders, and they are one of the main suppliers of powder to powder coaters. And so basically, if you went to Prismatic Powders website, any color that's listed on there, we can paint. You just have to get the code, and we just get it to our powder coater, and we say, hey, we want to do gummy bear juice, which is like one that's getting painted right now.
Yeah.
Or another one, we want to do Merlin's potion.
I'm a fan of hot pink leopard print, specifically leopard print.
Cool. So actually related to that is the side panels. So like this one, the customer wanted, it's called Tangerine. It's like Prismatic Powders Tangerine color. In the sunlight, it's actually more yellow. In the darker light here, it's definitely more orange. But then they just wanted like non-coated panels. So these are just the raw panels, because a lot of times people will get it and then they'll either paint the panels themselves or they'll like vinyl coat them. So like, let's say you wanted that bike. You could give it that order to us, and we would powder coat the bike pink, and then we would source leopard print vinyl, and I would vinyl wrap your panels in leopard print, you know? And that would be awesome.
Wait.
You stupid.
Yeah, this is the next one, next custom build. We have tons of different headlights. So I think right now there's like 8 or 10 different headlights. This guy just wanted like a standard light bar. It's like the, kind of standard version. But we do like cafe racer fairings. We do like square headlights. We have like a dirt bike style. Every one of them has high beam, low beam. And then if that headlight has a daytime running light function, we will wire that in as well. And what's really cool is we use the same plug for all these headlights, so that if you get your bike and you're like, I want to change my headlight out, you can just choose from any of our headlights, and we will just send it out to you all wired up. And kind of going back to the DIY stuff, all of our headlights work with all the DIY kits too. So you could do that.
Look, I'm shoot the shit. I turn my signals backwards.
So this is storage.
Yeah, so one cool thing, so the battery is removable, right? So it's this 40 amp hour, 72 volt battery.
What kind of cells does this battery use?
So they're actually just like 18650. I know there's way better, but that's why we also have the option for you to buy the bike without battery. So in the builder, you just select no battery, and that takes the entire cost of the battery off. And
Can you buy the case?
No.
No,
No, that
okay.
is actually something that's been asked.
Okay.
And so I am thinking more
Because it's a
about-
nice case. I mean, it's a nice metal case. So some of these batteries just come wrapped up and it gets dropped and damaged. But that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, maybe I'll consider it more because I've been hearing it as people have been seeing the bike.
Yeah.
It's one of the first questions.
Okay.
Can I get that case?
Okay. Now, these are 18650 cells, and you know, people are obsessed with 21700 cells. Is there any difference in performance between 18650 versus 21700, or did you guys make it so that this has great performance equal to that of the other cells?
So it would definitely be better to do the other cells.
Yeah.
For us, it is a combination of a few things. It is the costs involved is one thing, and then the size of the physical battery, and then how all this kind of intertwines together to give a power output that's as good as possible for the money. So it's one of these things where you got so many choices on what you can do,
Yeah.
and you kind of just say, okay, this is how we're going to start. We know there's better options out there, but you know, am I going to make this thing so that this bike now costs $6,000, or I'm going to try to make it accessible so that
Yeah.
more people get on it sooner?
What brand cells are they?
To be honest with you, I'm not sure exactly
Okay,
which ones.
all right.
We have a battery supplier, and we have all of our engineering specifications, and they're building it to the specification.
Okay.
That's a whole other complicated topic
Okay.
that I could probably talk about for like an hour. Because, for example, we've had tons of situations where I've even said we got to use this brand, we got to use these exact ones, and then we get batteries, and they'll use those cells for the exterior. So if you open it up, it's all like that, and then the interior is a totally different one.
That's so slimy.
Yeah, the best one.
Oh my god.
The best one ever was early on. I ordered a bunch of batteries, and they were supposed to be for the Bandit, so 52 volt, 25 amp hour. They came in, and it was just like, dude, I'm getting no range on this. What's going on? And we opened it up, and like a third of the battery was filled with a sandbag. So it was arranged so that it had the 52 volts, so it
Wow.
looked good, but it didn't have the amp hours. It was like a 15 amp
Yeah.
hour. So
Wow.
it's very hard to control.
I'm gonna assume, without even saying the name of the country, which country this battery was made in.
Yeah. So that's the that's
Yeah.
why we're trying to make stuff here.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
because we want to control that.
Yeah.
But you know, again, you can buy the bike without a battery. So if you want to go to a company like Powerful Lithium or any of these other guys, you know,
Or Northeast Battery Systems, shout out.
Northeast Battery Systems, any of these guys making batteries in the United States or reliable suppliers of foreign batteries, you could get something that you could just put in there.
Yeah.
And then back to this little area over here. So we added a storage compartment that you can put your charger in, or you can put your lunch or whatever in. But it's also big enough so that you could probably fit another, I'd say, close to 20 amp hours in there. You know, look at this. That's about half of. You know, you couldn't use the battery blender, but if you had a second battery right here, you could pop that out and put it in there.
Okay.
And then one thing I'm working on right now, there's a dividing piece that goes right here that the battery slides into. It's the battery cradle. And so the update that I'm trying to work on is to make that removable so that if you wanted to, you could push the wiring harness up into here. And now that is all battery.
That'd be a big battery.
It's a big battery.
Any issues? So I know, I'm going to assume this isn't UL certified. I know that's super expensive to make, and we could talk about that all day long. So people in New York can't buy this, but all over the country they can.
Well, I don't know about that because you have to keep in mind that the Javelin is not an e-bike. So it does not fall within the regulations for an e-bike. It falls into the regulations of either a motor-driven cycle, also considered a moped depending on your state, or it will fall into a motorcycle category. It depends on where you live, but that's why we send both of these bikes out with VINs so they can be fully registered. You can get plates on them, you can do all that stuff. You don't need it in the majority of places right now, but it's not an e-bike. That's the important thing, is we try to be very clear, it's not 750 watts, guys. This is like 5 times the power of a regular e-bike. And really, we try to position ourselves to be in competition with a low-speed motorcycle. So like a 250cc Yamaha or Suzuki or something like that. You know, somebody that is like, hey, I'm considering to get into motorcycles, but I don't want to get a motorcycle license. I don't want to get insurance. I don't want to get registration. I just want to be able to get on it and see what the whole world's like, or go out with my buddies who have motorcycles, or my spouse, and that kind of thing.
Can we talk more about some of the components of this? Just in case people don't know, let's talk about the motor down here.
Yeah. So it's a QS motor. It's a
4,000 watts nominal.
Yeah. So It's 4,000, and it's using a 4T winding. So a lot of your techie guys out there will know that these QS motors have different windings. In the earlier days of development, we did a 3.5T, and that was great for top speeds and all this kind of stuff. But really, we wanted to be able to push the torque, and the 5T windings were too slow. They were topping out at like 40, 45 miles an hour. So the 4T allows us to get to that 60 miles an hour mark, but have the torque that we want, because that's really where the fun is, to be honest with you.
Out of the box, if you sent this to a customer, what can they expect for top speed?
So everything we say online right now, this is like one of our most complicated things. So everything online, all of our marketing, it will say 55 miles an hour plus. And related to that is just the fact that it's using our far driver controller, right? So when we set the thing up and we program it, we're programming it so that the bike has as long of a life as possible, is as reliable as possible. You're not going to worry about anything. There are tons of people online on Reddit forums and stuff like that that get the bike and they immediately go to the RPMs and boost that thing to 1,000 RPMs. And you can do that. I don't know how long your bike is going to last.
Let's say I wanted my bike to last one day.
Yeah.
And how fast could I take this thing?
Yeah, I mean, if you want it to last a day, you could push it past 70. And there are videos of people doing it online. I can't say it enough. Just don't do that. Don't spend $5,000 on a bike and then push it to the limit so that it burns its motor out in a week. It's a lot of love and care went into setting it up the way it's being sent out. Consider that. Or if you really want to, start with it how it is and then change the motor out.
Like a QS, like 273 or something?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I have guys that are talking to me about putting 8Ks in there. You could do that, and then you just got to make sure that you're going to set your battery up, right? But I think if there's any bike that's going to be upgradable like that, the Javelin is one of the best because it already has a motorcycle fork. It's got motorcycle brakes on it, so you don't have to do all that other kind of stuff that you would have to do on another project bike.
Yeah.
So you told me this bike can make it up to 70. How many watts would you have to push to make it get to 70?
Off the top of my head, I don't know what the exact number is.
Yeah.
So
Right,
I
right,
hate
right.
to even quote numbers. We're always working on the bike and trying out new things. I mean, that's one of the things that kind of people joke about online with us is like, is the bike ever going to be done? And the thing about it is because of the way it's designed, it's a continuous improvement, right? So we can experiment with new things and find better ways to do things and implement that right away. I don't need to go to a big investing board and say, hey, we'd like to change this like little thing. We can continuously make it better. And that's the way we did Bandit too. So, I think it's possible that we would have higher power options, maybe, but realistically, you could just get the bike and we've seen this too. People will get it for the frame, all this stuff set up. They will pop the motor out, sell that motor on eBay and pop it in an 8K. And now they've just converted it and made it a monster.
So if someone bought this right now and they wanted to make it go faster, the weakest link would be the motor. The battery would be fine for discharge, and the controller can handle it.
Yeah, kind of. So
Yeah.
the controller can definitely handle it.
Yeah.
The
That
controller's
goes up
fine.
to, you said 200 amps?
So it's 190.
190?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's lying. The controller's perfectly fine. It's the motor and the battery. Really, if you wanted more out of the bike, it's the battery.
Okay.
Yeah, like
The battery is the weakest link. Okay.
Yeah, because the battery is the most expensive part of this entire bike. If you were to buy it without a battery and have a custom battery made, the bike
It'd be way more.
could be dramatically different.
Yeah. The wires can handle more power. It's a thick enough gauge.
We just use QS8 connectors.
Yeah.
So it's another thing that's like way overrated for what it needs to be, so that we were anticipating people buying it without battery. And so all they had to do was just order this custom battery, plug it in, and
Okay.
we're good to go.
Okay.
But yeah, but still, I'm always very cautious with this stuff. And for me, 55, 60 miles an hour on a bike this small is still very fast.
Pretty quick. Yeah, that's very fast. Yeah.
You know?
My viewers, you guys know who you are. You guys are speed addicts. Not that kind of speed, like miles per hour speed. So that's the kind of viewers I have. And I love you guys for it. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I have a question from my Facebook group, High Speed E-Bikes, from Bruce Heckmer. So 5K motor on the Javelin with pedals, question mark. So So you already said you guys are gonna keep the 4K motor as standard.
Yeah.
And tell me how you feel about pedals.
So,
What are your thoughts and feelings?
What are my thoughts and feelings on pedals? So it's a very complicated thing as well, but personally, on a bike like this, you don't need pedals. Pedals are not going to make it any more or less legal, despite whatever your buddies are telling you. Trust me, I've been doing this for almost 6 years now. We study the laws in every state. We're constantly getting these updates. But pedals do help in circumstances where you have police and stuff like that who don't know the actual laws, and they just say, let me see your pedals, and then you can just spin your pedals.
No.
And then they feel like they did their job. So I get it. I'm not trying to be like a downer here and make it so that people aren't having fun, because I want to ride too. But ultimately, they're not going to change anything, but people want them. And so we have to accommodate that, right? And so we have developed a pedal kit as well. So yeah, we have developed a pedal kit. And just like the other things, I've been working on them for a while, trying to refine them. I think I'm done, and then I put it on the bike and there's a stupid little problem. Back and forth for a month, and now it's to the point where it's working. I welded this one, that's why it looks horrendous. But basically, this is a heavy duty, 1/4-inch steel piece, because we have to make this so that somebody who is up to our weight capacity, 300 pounds on this guy, can stand on it and smash these pedals.
300 pounds is the max for this bike?
That's what we rated it, yeah. And the way this works is there are 4 screw holes that mount on the exact same screw holes as the foot pegs. It will come with the pedals installed on it.
Okay, and they're non-functional.
They're completely non-functional.
They just spin. Okay.
They have no chain ring. There is no chain. They just move, and that's it.
Yeah.
Which is...
They're token pedals, I call them.
That's what people are asking, and so we have to do what we can.
Would it be difficult to make them functional?
It would be impossible. And the reason it's impossible is because of the way the frame is made.
Yeah.
Because it is this laser cut frame system, there are things going on with the swing arm that would make running a chain, like there's no space. The chain would run into the frame. So we have your pedals. We can do it. While you're here, the Javelin's tire is most certainly narrower, and people wonder why that is. Well, for one, I do think eventually I would like to do about maybe a 3.75 inch. This is about a 3-inch right now. But the reason that we do the narrower ones is efficiency, right? So we're trying to market the Javelin as a suburban commuter, something that can reliably go, 60 to 70 miles on a charge, so that you can charge it, every other day and get to work and be good. Those wide tires, they just chew battery.
Do they really? What's the weight difference in tires between this one and that one?
Honestly, this is probably at least double the weight.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is like maybe like a 5-pound tire, somewhere in there, or less?
Yeah, probably a good guess. That amount of rolling mass, it just takes so much more work for that motor to get going and keep it moving. So, I mean, it's like anybody who's ridden a fat tire mountain bike. Think about how much harder it is to get that thing pedaling up to speed versus the same wheel size on a 26-inch regular mountain bike. Like, you can experience it yourself. You can see how much more work that bike has to do. So, thanks, Teo. So yeah, so you can see how the frames are made, right? You got there's 2 pieces. So you got a side piece, and then all these cross pieces, and then it's held together by a series of bolts. So then for welding, it just gets welded right down these lines. And then when you take all the bolts apart, you got an entire frame. Same thing's true for the swing arms. So just 2 bolts. I'm working on that guy. This is like a lightened version of the swing arm.
Okay. Oh, nice. Little weight reduction. Cool. Where are the frames welded?
So like 2 minutes down the road.
Okay,
We have a
gotcha.
partner called Classic Welding.
Yeah.
I welded all the prototype frames.
Yeah.
It's like my little welding setup over there. I don't want to weld them up here, man. It just gets hot and it's disgusting, and the fumes. So we have them do it at Classic Welding.
Yeah.
And then once a week we go pick up the finished frames, and then we transport them to the powder coater, which is 20 minutes down the road in the other direction. And when we drop off the frames for powder coating, we pick up the ones that were painted the week before. So we just kind of do this rotation.
So that's kind of cool. So everything is local, and you can check up on progress. And if there's any issues, you can just swing by and fix it and deal with it. Awesome. So guys, this is the controller that they use. So this back here is the heat sink. And this heatsink is exposed to the outside, so it's going to get plenty of cooling. All the wires hook up right there. This is the far driver controller. This can go up to 190 amps, but they run it at around 100 for reliability and longevity. What's going on with this one?
Oh, so this is an old prototype, actually. And there's another old prototype behind it.
I see the welds are different. Yeah, there's a lot that's different.
Oh yeah, I mean I did these ones by hand, right? These are all. I'm not a professional per se.
No matter how good your welds are, the internet will tell you they're bad.
Yeah. So this is an early prototype that we pushed to its absolute limit, and I always like to show this guy. So if you look over here, look down the axle.
Oof. Yeah.
There is a broken axle.
Oh boy.
So that's what happens when we push to the max.
Yeah. Beta testing.
And
Got to do it.
This is how we learn stuff. Oh, there's a little prototype back here you can see actually with the
The pedals. Okay.
the pedal kit. These little itty bitty.
Okay. All right.
They're so small.
There you go.
So that's all that is. But yeah, this bike and that white one right there, and then this one. These were all some prototypes that we were trying different things out, and we raced them at this really cool event in Milwaukee called Flat Out Friday. It was us and 9 other people on a track, 20,000 people in a stadium. And we raced as hard as we
You
could.
raced your prototypes. That's
so
ballsy. Yeah,
do
that
it
sounds
again.
like fun.
The seat is just like this.
This is a Tapia seat also. First generation.
That's right. It's got this like crazy hinge from like a
Oh, I see.
cabinet.
Okay.
Trying different things out.
The back brake is the normal brake, like a Dorado.
That's when we were
Yep.
trying out regular brakes.
Yeah. How quickly did you find the regular brakes? You just shoot through the pads, or is?
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, it was like a couple 100 miles.
Yeah, that's it. So you'd be switching these pads all the time.
We have a Javelin customer who put like 1,000 miles on his bike in the first week and a half. Like, I don't even know how you do that. So that's like the customer base that we're working with.
Nice.
So I'm definitely glad we put those on the brakes. You want to do a swap here?
Yeah, sure, let's do it. All right, we are on the Javelin. I can feel a little bit more power, and the seating position definitely feels a little bit more aggressive on this one. I feel the weight of this bike a bit more than the Brute. Oh, going over that speed bump. Guys, the suspension on this thing is so nice. That felt so planted. I'm telling you, some of you guys, you might be comparing e-bikes to this. This is a whole other beast. It can handle potholes. It can handle big bumps at high speeds just fine. Big spokes, durable components. Like going over those bumps was nothing. On a bicycle, going over those, you will definitely feel them a lot more. Throttle mapping is great. These guys have really dialed these bikes down quite a bit. All they're doing is iterating on versions of this bike. They'll make a bike and improve it. Make a bike, improve it. Make a bike, improve it. And that's fantastic. Going a little faster now. Plenty of speed. So going up this hill right here, at this speed, does take a lot of power, and thankfully this bike can deliver. Freehanding the camera. I wish I could do that. Brake test. 20 mile an hour. Brakes work great. And since these are motorcycle brakes, motorcycle brake pads, the pads aren't going to wear out in 3 days. Yeah, this feels great. If I wanted to commute on higher speed side roads, a bike like this would do well. You can get to 40, 50, and maintain it. Oh yeah, climbing this hill, nothing. It's like nothing. And this bike does have all the things you need to make it road legal. You got turn signals, you got mirrors, you got a front light, you got a brake light, you got everything. You got the VIN number. So in case the laws do change, this bike is ready for that. Look at this. We got the power, folks. So this is a good test right here when you have to merge with traffic quickly. Power is definitely important. So in case you are on one of these main roads, which I personally try and stay off, you can still handle it somewhat, considering this bike goes up to 55 and it's got that pickup to get you into the lane quickly. There we go. And we're up to speed, no sweat. I can't hear anything from this bike because it does not have pedals, so there's no freewheel to click away. Yeah, going up this hill, full blast, no problems. I think they really dialed the power down to a perfect amount. The power on this bike is perfect for side roads like this. You're not going to take it on the highways. And at the same time, the acceleration isn't trying to kill you. The bike isn't trying to buck you off if you just hit the throttle quickly. It'll ease you into that power nicely, so it's controllable for a lot of people.
One of the things that we do on all of our bikes, we have an option for you to put in how tall you are.
Okay.
So, you know, for the Javelin, for example, it will change the shock length and the foot peg position. And usually, if somebody's taller, we try to get them away from clip-ons, and we'll do tracker handlebars, which are higher.
I didn't know we would be talking during this outside portion, so the audio is terrible since Matt doesn't have a microphone. But during this part, Matt explains how the Javelin has a weight of roughly 200 pounds, and even though each bike uses the same 190 amp controller set to 100 amps, the different batteries and the different tunes for each controller will make each bike feel like they have a different amount of power.
And people can get in here if they really know what they're doing and change all of that if they want to. You can change a lot, almost anything on this bike, probably except for the frame. You can change anything, I'm guessing. And that's sometimes most of the fun of e-bikes is, you know, it's fun riding them, but it's fun building them too. I know that I like that a lot.
Yeah, so the wheelbase on this bike is quite a bit longer than most bikes in the category, and the fork angle is much more slack. So we're at about 68 degrees on our fork angle, which compared to a lot of other e-bikes is way out there. And that's what's giving you that like super glidey.
Okay. Buttery smooth. Everything. Handling is so smooth. It's a treat to ride. The learning curve for riding something like this is very low. Some bikes you get on and they try and kill you. They're throwing you off. This one is like, I'll take care of you. We're good. We'll get there. It's nice and smooth and quiet, stealthy. Yeah, it's nice. One thing I probably would do, if I were you tell me, I would probably see if I can add some kind of lights here to show me if my indicator is on or off. Something I always complain about with turn signals, there's no indicator if something is on or off. So you end up having like a senior moment where you're just riding and the left turn signal is on the whole time and people are like, what is this guy doing? Some bikes I've seen, they have lights. I don't know if that would be an easy thing to install. Yeah, or some kind of sound even, but a light and a sound, that would be really good.
Because there's a million of these. This is just one that we have found that we've liked, but I could find one that had a little indicator. So maybe in a few months from now, if you see these shipping out with like a little lighted up indicator, then you'll know where that is.
Yeah, because it's really easy to forget, like, oh, because it's not self-canceling, and that's way too complicated to probably put in. One last question. Okay, so pricing one more time. This one is about, I think, $4,500, somewhere on there.
The other thing is, like, if you just got the base frame, you can update things down the line. So, like, we're going to start to add a section to the website now for all the customization.
Oh, so you can buy this and then upgrade parts later. That's really important. That's awesome.
Like, imagine in the very near future, like a page for side panels, and there's like 20 different options. So you can just get these to get going, and then you're like, oh, I want to do go on the website, get those, pop them on your bike. So it's upgradable. So it's a lot of money. Times the difference between $4,500 and $5,000 is a lot. And so you could start with that base bike and then work from there.
That's true. So you don't have to go all in all at once. You can upgrade it slowly. Kind of like the Jeeps nowadays. Like you can throw anything you want on those Jeeps, but you buy the base, and that's the kind of barrier of entry. Cooling for both of these, the controller is going to stay nice and cool wherever it's mounted. And it's a 190 amp far driver on both of these.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're running it at about 100, so you're not really peaking it. You're not. Yeah. Okay, so it'll stay nice and cool.
It's mounted onto this, and so I mean, you can feel this right now. It's cold. The far driver right here is mounted on this under panel. So this is like.
I see it. Okay. Yeah.
We have the only heating issues that we really think about are the motors. And even then, we're running everything pretty conservatively.
And they're the same motors. Okay. And I could feel that there's more power for the Javelin for sure. I feel that the pickup.
Oh, something you might also be interested in are the seats. So the Javelin uses a seat from Copyri. This is the standard one. And then we have like a tracker seat, which is like lines this way. And then we have a chevron seat, which is like kind of
They're comfortable. Really, very comfortable. This seat being wider, I can feel it. Like for a longer ride, this seat would be better than this. But that seat's still good. Like they're both great. All right, Matt, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for letting me test ride these. These are amazing bikes. And guys, if you want more info on these bikes, check out the link in the description below. That's it for today, folks. Until next time.